Hello, everybody. We are back. The World of Football podcast is back and it is live on the Dugout Football channel. You are all very, very welcome to tonight's show. It's quite a bumper show, actually. Obviously, big talking points. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's a big, big week for him. We'll also talk about Liverpool scoring 5 away at Watford and how Mo Salah is on absolute fire at the moment. And obviously, the biggest game in South Wales went to Swansea. So we will talk about that as well. But before I start the show, I just want to say we wish Daniel Barden, the on-loan goalkeeper at Livingston from Norwich City, all the very, very best. He has got testicular cancer. And also best wishes to David Brooks as well, Bournemouth midfielder who has just been diagnosed with, is it stage 2 lymphoma Hodgkin's, I think it is. So, yeah, obviously get well soon, Daniel Barden. Obviously get well soon, David Brooks. So on to the panel. Obviously, Mr. Josh is not here. I'm pretty sure he'll be back with you guys next week. But we do have Mr. Nathan Morgan, who is, I would say, is probably a little bit downbeat, but at least he's smiling at the moment. How are you doing, Nathan?
Yeah, that smile won't last for long. Honestly, I was absolutely disgusted with what I saw yesterday. McCarthy, get out of the club, you absolute disgrace to South Wales, and the amount of disrespect that you have shown to our fan base in the last few months, get out. And also to everyone on the board as well, Bergea Corporation, the lot, get out of the club as well. You have run it into an absolute mess, and you've been doing so for years. Thanks for having me on, Doug.
Absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. I would imagine there will be somebody else ranting about Mr. Solskjaer, but it's lovely to have Mr. George Kyle once again. How are you doing, George?
Yeah, very well, Doug. Thank you, as always, for having me. I'm looking forward to getting into things. And yeah, a disappointing result once again, obviously at the weekend, but I'm sure we'll get into it. And we've got an amazing. It looks like Josh might be joining us, so that's good. But yes, looking forward to it, Doug. Thank you.
It looks like we've got the full panel. Mr. Josh is actually here. How are you, Josh?
Amongst things in my personal life, there's no way I can miss this podcast tonight. I've not been a part of a football podcast now for maybe about 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks far too long. So yeah, I'll be here.
It has been a while as well. We've also got Mr. Reece Russell. Don't know if he is actually here or not. Reece, how you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. How are you?
You are there. And also, I think we'll have a Mr. Smiling Swan in the panel tonight. Is Mr. Rhys Bish from Swans Away Days. How are you doing, my friend?
Yeah, very good, thanks. Not sure if I agree with Nathan saying Mick McCarthy's a disgrace to South Wales, because we love him in Swansea, but yeah, I'm quite good, thanks.
Let's say hello to a few people, because I did see there is a lot of you as well, even to Hella, Jade, James, Liz, Yeti Boy, Kieran Meisel, I think I pronounced that right, Arthur Morris as well. If you are new around here, then please hit that subscribe button. We are very, very close to 1.5k actually. I think we're only 32 away, which is mental at this stage. And also good evening to Bluebird Legend as well. So I suppose the best way to start things off is about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and it is a big week for himself. It has to be said that the fan base is completely divided over Mr. Solskjaer. I mean, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter actually wanting Manchester United to lose to Liverpool. Now, I'm going to say this now. If you are wanting your team to lose, to get a manager sacked, you are not a proper fan. And secondly, you do not understand the rivalry between Manchester United and Liverpool. So there's my rant over. Reece, I mean, you've been on the fence about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. How are you feeling now watching that Leicester game?
Just checking the time on my watch that's not on my wrist. I wouldn't call it sitting on the fence. I just call it being a fan who has generally no agenda whatsoever. I just care for the club. But honest to God, I don't see him surviving. I don't see him turning things around. I don't see any change that's actually going to make it better for him. It's got to the point now where you're literally just sitting there as a fan going, how long is this actually going to last? There's no real sense of turning it around. And fans that want us to lose are quote-unquote bin merchants. Like, seriously, get in the bin. If you honestly want your club to lose, then there's something wrong with you. You can want a manager in, you can want a manager out. I'm fine with that. That's your opinion. But if you want your club to lose, then there's something seriously wrong with you. There's something seriously wrong with you, and you should be, I wouldn't say helped, but a proper examinated on what the hell's wrong with you. Because I wouldn't, even if I wanted Solskjaer sacked, I would never want Man United to lose, especially to the likes of Liverpool. For goodness sake, that makes me sick if you want your club to lose. You can want a manager sacked. I'm fine with that. That's your personal opinion. You can want the manager to stay. That's your personal opinion. I honestly don't give a fuck. I'm a Man United fan. I don't care who's in I don't care who's in the job. It could be a bin man from Durham that gets the Man United job for all I care. I want them to do well, but I'll never want us to lose.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's just abhorrent. I mean, Liverpool went through a bad spell for Roy Hodgson, but there was no chance I wanted him sacked. No chance. So I totally understand where Reece is coming from. And yeah, if you want your team to lose, then as I've said, you're not a proper fan. George, it has to be said, when it went to 2-2, the one thing I keep saying to people, you're at your most vulnerable when you have scored. Did you expect 14 seconds later for Jamie Vardy to make it 3-2?
Not at all. No, I mean it happened so very quickly. What I would say is I'm quite interested in this bin man from Durham's CV because I'm sure he's got more. I'm sure he's got better qualities than Ollie for the Manchester United job at this point. No, I didn't expect that we would concede that quickly. It was terrible defending from start to finish. I mean, ultimately, one of my biggest. Well, there were so many takeaways from that match, but I mean, ultimately, it's just repeating myself ad nauseum really from other matches that we've had this season and even in previous seasons. But I think it was disgraceful the way that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer kept Harry Maguire on. I sort of remarked that Stevie Wonder could have seen within about a quarter of an hour that he was not fit, and somehow he stayed on the entire match. But it wasn't just him. It was also Victor Lindelof had a very, very poor game, but almost it was kind of pushed away because it was sort of almost as though Maguire was a bit of the scapegoat. But the first goal that we conceded, I actually placed the blame on three players there. I think Victor Lindelof received the ball from Paul Pogba in the free kick, dilly-dallied around and got pressed, and then decided to pass it back to David De Gea, so already inviting the pressure on rather than, he did have at that point when the ball first came to him, he had an opportunity to get it forward, decided to, as I said, dilly-dally around and pass it back to De Gea. De Gea, as we all know, I mean, obviously you guys will know as well, he's not very competent with his feet, certainly compared to most of the other keepers in the league, and we've seen that numerous times, decides to take the easy option, pass it to Harry Maguire, even though, like I said, with David De Gea, he can see. The worst thing about it is David De Gea can see all of the pitch. He can see where everyone is, so he can see that Maguire's going to have a man on him and still plays the pass. And Harry Maguire has again, it seemed like Harry Maguire was, incredibly unfit, and he just didn't even seem to see that the press was on him and got tackled. Yeah. And that was the first, good finish, obviously by Tielemans. Second goal, Victor Lindelof misses a header, obviously on that corner. There's a massive scramble, and Harry Maguire is again almost, like I said, he was almost befuddled and confused, and as I said, completely unfit and keeping Soyuncu on side. Third goal, which obviously you've mentioned specifically, some terrible defending by McTominay and Lingard initially, but also Aaron Wan-Bissaka went flying in just before that. And then Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire both decide to leave, Jamie Vardy completely unmarked in the penalty area, the only man in there for an easy finish. And then don't do that. On the fourth goal, free kick comes in, Victor Lindelof again, as well as a few others, missed the header, missed the ball as it comes across, and an easy finish for, I think it's Patson Daka, wasn't it, got his goal?
Patson Daka, yeah.
Terrible defending from start to finish. Lindelof and Maguire, I think, were both at fault. But United look, terribly lacklustre. And as I said, it wasn't so much the fact that Ollie picked Harry Maguire, because Maguire might have said to him, I'm definitely fit, Ollie, and we know that he does like Harry a lot, but it was the fact that he kept him on. That was what was really galling for me, and he was, mainly at fault for, as I said, as well as Lindelof was, for a lot of the goals that we conceded. So it's just that sort of thing where sometimes a lot of Man United fans will say that the blame is in the coaching, because we know that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer doesn't give that. But even his in-game decisions, like, as I said, like keeping Harry Maguire on, are terrible as well. So yeah, he's got to go. I am fearful of the few matches ahead, because we've got a very tough schedule, obviously, with you guys. Liverpool in good form at the weekend. And Atalanta are no mugs either. So it could well be that we see an early exit from the Champions League, and we could fall even further behind in the league. So yeah, dark days, unfortunately.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, and you have to say that, as I said, it's a big week. Atalanta are no mugs, by the way. They are absolutely fantastic. The way they played recently, and actually the last time they've been in England, they actually won 2-0 at Anfield as well. So yeah, I actually think that they might actually win that game. I mean, I have gone for a 2-1 Man United win in my Champions League predictions, but I actually look at Atalanta, and I think they're going to cause you a lot of problems, but you could get joy from the fact that they can't defend to save themselves as well, hence why we won 5-0 in Italy as well. Josh, obviously from a Chelsea fan's point of view, what did you actually make of Ollie starting Harry Maguire?
Well, I'm going to go full screen here, because I'm going to do a quick analysis here. So I'm Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, okay? Right, so you see that Leicester are going to play with Jamie Vardy and Keogh, natural, two very fast people. So what do? Let's play a 50% Harry Maguire against two of the fastest strikers in the Premier League. Even better, let's play a high line. Let's let them run it behind us. Oh, right, Harry Maguire's not fit. Let's chuck 35-year-old Don Matic in the middle when he's got Tielemans running circles around him. It was a disaster class from Solskjaer. No structure in the field. What was it in that midfield? What did Solskjaer do in the third touchline? And when you're losing the game, let's bring on McTominay. We've got Van de Beek on the bench. We've got critics going, we need Scott McTominay. I guess what he did, he ended up making a goal fault. Yeah, the fact that you think that a 50% Harry Maguire going to his old stadium against the two of the fastest strikers in the Premier League was any sort of a good idea is wrong. And the fact that, as George said, he stayed on. Yeah, that's all I've got to say. Solskjaer, man. But listen, I think me, Nathan, Doug. I don't think Reece really cares. Rhys Bish really cares, but Solskjaer needs a 10-year contract. That's all I'm saying.
I mean,
you should give the same length of contract to Lukaku, because once again he went missing at the weekend.
But we won, didn't we? So that's all that matters.
At least your team can win, but he can't.
I mean, Nathan. Obviously, we all know that you like to rant about Mr. Solskjaer because of obviously his bad spell at Cardiff. Horrendous. Are you surprised to see these mistakes or no?
Nope.
No, it doesn't surprise me, considering that he was voted our worst ever manager in history. I mean, we see it week in, week out. He's just so far out of his depth. Decision making just completely non-existent. We've seen it all again with his favoritism of certain players. Saw that at Cardiff in the Premier League season as well. And to be honest, he's allergic to defences as well. I mean, we saw it again with just the complete disorganisation at the back of the weekend. And to be honest, I'm sorry, but if Harry Maguire's worth 80 million, then Virgil van Dijk's worth 300 million.
Wow, bloody hell! That's something. That's something to say.
Just remember one very, very, very important thing about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And I will bring this point up. Yes. I will bring this point time. I will bring this point up time and time again, okay? Because I witnessed it with my own eyes. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with Erling Haaland as a full-time team with Haaland lost to a part-time team in Northern Ireland by a guy called Gary Hamilton in Northern Ireland. He lost to us. And this was about a couple of months before he got hired as United manager. So if the guy can't even be a part-time Northern Ireland team, and that's the biggest result Northern Irish team has had, besides Linfield a couple of years ago, it sums him up as a manager. That's all I'm trying to say to that. That's all.
Yeah,
I'm done there.
I mean, Rhys Bish, obviously, you'll obviously remember Solskjaer's tenure at Cardiff. It didn't go very, very well. What have you actually made in Manchester United this season under Solskjaer?
This season, I think most people were thinking, there'd be a little bit of a change in their style of play when he brought in, some players like Varane, Sancho, stuff like that. But it's no really different to last season, really. Just getting bought out by moments from individual quality, moment of madness. Against Leeds, everyone got really excited, but Leeds are, a 1 in a million team where, they're just attacking, so they're not going to sit back. And, so Leeds, I think that result was always going to happen. But then when there's teams like Southampton, other teams like Leicester with very good disciplinary defensively, they struggle massively, and without proper coaching, without proper tactics, they're not going to get results. And we've seen their first goal, Green, with a fantastic strike, and you're thinking, United, can they push on now, defend well, maybe get a second, and they just collapse because they can't defend. And Maguire 50% fit shows that Solskjaer doesn't really trust the squad when Van der Beek doesn't get a game. Bailey, who he cost a lot. How much did Bailey cost? 20-30 million pounds, and he doesn't even trust that sort of player when he's quite quick as well. But then he plays a 50% Maguire when Leicester know Maguire out and out. He was at Leicester, so Vardy's going to know his weak points and the other players. So yeah, really, really poor by Solskjaer. And I understand why some United fans like him, obviously club legend. But at the end of the day, for where United are now, it's nothing short of a disgrace, really.
But
I mean, obviously.
I have a really good question to ask. I've got a really good question to ask here. So, right, see, we'll be listening to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's interviews, right? So you think about Jurgen Klopp, when after the interview he had with Manchester City, he went into really in depth about the tactics and the setup and all. When you listen to Solskjaer's interviews, basically Solskjaer said in this interview after saying, well, we weren't good enough, but we weren't blocking enough, we weren't attacking well enough. Do you not think by his interviews it does sound very clueless on how to describe a game of football? Because his interviews are he described Ronaldo as a young puppy. Who does that as Manchester United manager?
Yeah, I know it's very, very weird as well. But now the long unbeaten run is now obviously officially over. Now we'll look ahead to obviously your two games at the weekend, Atalanta, and obviously the biggest, still in my opinion, the biggest game in English football, Manchester United against Liverpool. I mean, I've already spoken to Reece about this, and I know from the other night, I think he was on Rich, or I think he was on one stream, and I have to say, he did not sound very confident ahead of the game on Sunday. Are you actually really worried for Sunday, Reece?
Absolutely. I look at it and I think if nothing changes between now and Sunday, and I mean, even the funny thing is, he can turn this around by actually doing the one thing he claims he doesn't do, and that's coaching. If he actually goes to the training ground and actually gets involved in coaching, he could actually potentially turn it around on Sunday, even for a little bit, and then still get moved on. Is it going to happen? No, it's not going to happen. I think it's just going to be the same thing. I'm going to take the word of my coaching staff about how the training sessions went, and then we're going to just go for it. In all honesty, that's suicide. That is career suicide. He's going to make it worse for himself rather than make it better. And fair enough, he's a Man United manager, he's a Man United legend, but in all honesty, there's only so far the word manager can take you so far. It's not gonna last because he keeps making the same mistakes over and over again, and it's gonna come back to bite him in the ass. And it's gonna get to the point where Liverpool was the final nail in the coffin for Jose Mourinho. It could potentially be the exact same thing for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer 3 years later.
Yeah.
So I generally am a little bit worried about Sunday. I'm actually more concerned about Wednesday because Atlanta are no pushovers either. Anybody who thinks Atlanta are a terrible side should deserve to walk away from football.
Yeah,
because they're fantastic. They're a fantastic side. Highest scoring team in Serie A last season for a reason. They might not have the same players anymore. They don't have Gomez anymore, but they still have Zapata. They still have Illich. They've got Koop Minor and De Bruyne in midfield. That's a very strong team, and they play a solid back three. But it's a back three that attacks teams. It's not defensive and boring. They're going to come at us. They're going to give us a game. If we do not get things right, then we are in trouble. Simple as we are in trouble. But I wouldn't be surprised if we actually got the result on Wednesday. I wouldn't be surprised if we got the right result against Liverpool. It's just not gonna. It's just not gonna work at all. And I fear for it. I don't wish anyone to lose their jobs, but the way things are going, he is going to lose his. I've never got on a managerial side because I've always supported the football team because that's more important.
Yeah.
But the way things are going, he honestly is in serious trouble, and I don't know how he's going to turn it around. I honestly do not have a clue.
Yeah, I mean, George, if obviously, like, I'm putting a bit of caution because obviously we've not got the best of records at Old Trafford, and I know we won 4-2 last season, but obviously that was a big change because obviously no fans there as well. Would a heavy defeat result in Ole getting sacked?
I don't think so. No. I think it will need another few. I think it will need quite an even bigger run, unfortunately, of draws but I think but particularly losses for Ole to get the sack. I think the board are, as we know from the sort of words that have come out of the club, I think the board are fully behind Ole. I think they do see him as a project and they do like him. So I think it will require a lot of losses, and I don't see him going anytime soon. I think also as well that what you've got to remember is that we do have a very star-studded squad, and even so we will pick up wins through just through the fact of the quality that we've got, rather than any sort of like managerial acumen that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's had, which I would argue is part of the reason why we did so well last season, is because just of the players that we've got. I think a lot of these matches that we won in those circumstances, we still had the same terrible football. It was just that in those sort of like 50-50 games, we just had more quality than the other team because that's just the fact of the squad that we've got. So, and unfortunately, it's gone the opposite way this time, where those players aren't necessarily getting those moments of quality, and the moments where we were saved or we got lucky, we're not getting lucky this time. So. But what I would say is, I think from my, just to finish off, I think my expectation with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is that he'll still be here for another few months at least. But I think at least until Christmas.
Interesting, Josh. How long do you think Solskjaer's got?
Solskjaer's got. I do agree to George. I think he's gone until Christmas. I think. Solskjaer's had these bad run of results and he's never came close to being sacked, and I think it's just the lack of ambition the Manchester United board have, that they're happy enough to give this lenience. You look at Chelsea, what they did with Frank Lampard. They seen things were not going well. They seen that the players didn't really believe in Lampard's ways of management. They got rid of him, brought in Tuchel, and look what happened. If Manchester United got a proper manager in, they would be a serious threat in the league, in the Champions League.
I mean, Tony Madden's asked that question. If they sacked Ole, who would they get in at this stage of the season?
Zidane or Conte. They're the only two. You would consider elite right now that are free agents. They're not going to go and buy a manager out their contract. They're not going to buy a Flick out of Germany. They're not going to buy out Luis Enrique. I doubt they would buy out Ten Hag's contract at Ajax, even though he's got a year left, which would be smart. They're not going to do it. It'll most likely be a free agent. But the other thing is they might put a current member of the coaching staff in an interim role until the end of the season.
Could you imagine?
Make it much worse.
Could you imagine that Mike Phelan as the account for?
He wouldn't get it. No, he wouldn't get the role. If they were to put someone in an interim position, it would be Michael Carrick. I don't think that guy could physically walk down the steps of the Old Trafford dugout. Never mind coaching a football team. But I think
let's get another pie quick.
I think Solskjaer will. I think Solskjaer will be there. I think Reece and George will give me. I don't know why I truly care, but I have a really funny feeling from what he's done in previous years, and from what he said after Leicester. I have a funny feeling we might see a 5 at the back against Liverpool, and if he goes 5 at the back against Liverpool with McFred at home at Old Trafford to Liverpool with that team that he's got, and he loses. That is a sackable offence. I don't think it will have. I don't think he will be sacked if he does that.
Tony, we don't want Big Sam. We do not want Big Sam. We don't want dinosaurs.
I'm available.
No, we don't want you as a manager either. You'll definitely
fancy Mick McCarthy as well.
Matthew McFadden says Ole is smashed that anyone can win the Champions League with world class players argument that's used against Zidane. Get him in as soon as possible. Wow, there you go.
Zidane's a decent coach. He done it without Ronaldo. He didn't win the Champions League, but at least he won a league title. He
Yeah.
knows how to manage teams.
United need to avoid an interim manager at all costs. I would 100% agree. Hello to Pete Shepherd. It's interesting to see Josh. Like to actually see him.
Pete, it's actually interesting to see fans at the Etihad for once too. Weird things happen.
Yeah. United manager who can handle working with egos like Pogba or Ronaldo. I'm not sure Conte is the one to bring in. Zidane might be the one for them to bring in. Very interesting.
The thing is, there's two sides to the coin with Conte. There's two sides. There's one that it depends how long he actually lasts in the job, but two, he does guarantee success. If you actually look at managing big egos and big players, Conte's done it. He's managed Pogba before. He managed them for 3 years. He's managed the likes of Lukaku, and Lukaku couldn't score through a needle in a
Diego
haystack.
Costa as well.
He's managed Costa. He's done all that, but he's got the ego. Do I think he would get the Man United job? No, I don't. Because purely the sense of it's the young player factor as well. United is still based on that.
It's not even that. He wouldn't get on with the Manchester United board because he wouldn't get full control of the transfers. And I don't think that's all. I think if he was to come in mid-season, that current squad doesn't suit him because he doesn't have a natural right wing back or natural left wing back. And I don't think you'd see Mason Greenwood as much as well. So I don't think Conte. Right, I think Conte, if bring him in the summer and give him full power, yes, but coming in mid-season, I don't think it would work.
Yeah,
to be fair, he would get some form of backing in January. He would get some form of backing. I don't think he would get the job purely for the sense of the young player argument. United are still all about they want to win trophies, they want to play exciting football, but the academy is always going to be a fundamental part to Man United. It's always been the fundamental back to the first game in 1937 when it started from there. It's never going to stop. So you would have to abide by that. It's why the likes of a Ten Hag makes sense. It's why an Enrique makes sense if you got him from It's why Enrique makes sense. It's why Ten Hag makes sense. You're not going to see that though, because United will not buy those managers out their contracts.
And Ten Hag is going to go to Germany anyway. I think he's made that. I think he'll end up at
Barcelona, mate. I think he'll be the next Barcelona. I think he's the next Barcelona manager, to be honest.
Very interesting, but that's
natural progression.
Apparently, from obviously the doom and gloom of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's tenure as Manchester United manager, we will go on to Liverpool, who won 5-0 against Watford, and Claudio Ranieri has just gone himself into a really, really bad situation. I mean, Nathan, was it as much as Watford were poor, or were Liverpool really that good against Watford?
To be honest, I'll say it was half and half, but I was really impressed with some of that Salah assist for the first goal. What an absolute beauty it was. And then
outside of the right foot, Mane first time finish, brilliant.
Absolutely gorgeous, and the way we threw for that first goal as well. The Firmino hat trick, and absolutely superb. But Watford, it's like Ranieri didn't even do a team talk. He just turned up at the stadium, folded his arms, and then got in his Bentley and drove straight back home. He literally had no effect on that squad, and they seemed much, much worse under him than they were under Xisco Muniz. And to be honest, it's a matter of weeks before he's out the door. It seems that he's worse than he was at Fulham. And honestly, that Fulham tenure was an absolute horror show.
I don't understand how he can be that bad at Watford. Surely he obviously knew what he was walking into. I mean, Reece, me and you have already said weeks and weeks and weeks that we think Watford are one of the teams to go down. On that basis, with Liverpool winning 5-0, has that really changed your mind?
Hell no. They're still going down in the bottom two, mate. I told you, it's going to be the stripper champions and Watford. The Horny Hornets will be going down with the stripping Canaries. I've said it since day one. I said Isco would be the first manager to get sacked before November. Those are my exact words. He would be sacked before November. They would both be in the bottom two. Norwich would have the worst Premier League record in Premier League history, and that's going to be the end of it. And so far, I've been 100% correct. So let it ride. Yeah. Goodbye, Watford. You can fuck off. And the Tinkerman, I feel sorry for him. We should rename him. He's no longer called the Tinkerman. He's now the Backdoor Man.
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to talk about Liverpool, Mo Salah, I mean, if he that goal against Manchester City was absolutely fantastic, but you have to argue, Josh, this one was probably just as even better.
Yeah, it was an absolutely incredible goal from Salah. And I hate to say it, but I do probably think he is definitely the best player in the world right now. What he's doing in every aspect of the football pitch, from movement to assists to goals to just causing trouble for opposition defenses, it's scary. And the thing that we've seen Salah the last 2 seasons, and he was good, but this year it's just another level. I don't even realize it was a level that he could reach, but compared to what he's already done. It's scary. He's a player that I don't think there's much he could done. I honestly do wonder what Claudio Ranieri kind of said about Salah, because it looked like he was trying to tell the Watford players to practice socially distancing against Salah rather than actually tackle him.
Oh my goodness! Did you see the amount of times that Danny Rose was turned inside and out by Salah?
Well, that's why Danny Rose is at Watford and no longer Spurs, even though Spurs is not particularly a good team either. But yeah, and to see Claudio Ranieri, Reece would probably back me up. But I don't think he's just the Premier League anymore. I think he did a very good job with Sampdoria last season. Claudio Ranieri.
I think the live chat comment sums up my opinion.
Dinosaurs like Ranieri, Pulis. Oh, hang on, I've just seen that. Dinosaurs like Ranieri, Pulis, McCarthy, Warnock, and Allardyce don't belong in football. At least Roy retired. Well, I think
Ranieri did a good job in Serie A last season with Sampdoria, but I don't think he's much of a Premier League manager. And I'm literally gonna say the most Watford thing ever. Watford have changed manager that many times that the manager new bounce doesn't exist for Watford. It just doesn't. It's not a thing. They've sacked so many guys. There's so many people. They don't have a manager bounce, and the players are probably that. And the players are probably that bloody confused on what the philosophy and style of the team actually is, that they don't really know what to do on the pitch because they've been taught by 6 different managers. So
I've told you what the style of play is for Watford is to get constantly horny 24/7, hoping that they get a good buzz. And they don't get it, so send them down.
Here we go. Here's a question for you all. How many managers will Watford go through this season? Rhys Bish?
3.
5.
5 says Reece. George?
4.
4. Nathan?
I think they'll match their record 4.
4. Wow. Josh?
3 with Big Sam being the final one.
Big Sam gets some relegated. Claudio Ranieri walks out and he's going.
It would be very, very nice to see. It would be very, very nice to see Sam Allardyce get relegated again and then basically just walk out on them again.
Remember, it would be back-to-back relegations for Big Sam.
It would be. Definitely. If I had the choice between Ronaldo and another midfielder, I would not have taken Ronaldo. He's not always choice. I've only said this on Owen's podcast. Interesting.
I think if you had the right system, Ronaldo works. He's still a fantastic player. None of us will doubt that. He's still a fantastic player. But in this system, like we are apparently trying to play, it does not work. If he's got a statue already, I'm gonna laugh. Any other system makes sense.
Yeah.
This doesn't. Ronaldo in a different managerial system under a different style of coaching. At United will thrive. In this one, he won't, and we are lacking. Not because of him, but in spite of him, we are suffering.
We've seen it a lot. We've seen it with Allegri and Piroe at Juventus. If Ronaldo wants all he's sacked, he will get sacked. It's as simple as that.
Mind you, he didn't get Allegri sacked though. He did not get Allegri sacked.
He did.
Maybe they made Danny Rose a player manager so he doesn't have to be on the pitch. Yeah, I would agree.
He didn't get Allegri sacked. He got Sarri sacked.
Oh, sorry. That's my fault. Yeah,
Sarri
Liverpool. I mean, it's really, really hard to obviously wax lyrical, and obviously 2 big games against Atletico Madrid and obviously Manchester United. But Rhys Bish, is this the best time for Liverpool to go to Old Trafford and play Man United?
I don't think it is ever a good time to go to Old Trafford with 75,000 people. I know United form haven't been great, but we've seen it so many times with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and this United squad. They can just turn up for a game, and if they beat Liverpool, that's Solskjaer in the job for a couple more months. I think with United, the frustrating thing for their fans is, they're hot and cold. Even when they're cold, they can win. But against Liverpool, you expect them to turn up. But Liverpool, what I will say about Klopp, and definitely not about Solskjaer, is Klopp manages his squad so well. You know, the rotation. Firmino, you know, hasn't been in the squad or starting 11 that much this season. He's been hotter drops to the bench. Firmino comes in, hat-trick. You just see a lot of players happy there. They want to play for the manager. And you look at Liverpool's squad, like, it's not a great squad anymore, is it, compared to the last few years? Compared to the other teams in the top four, it's not a great squad, but it's still a very, very good team. And, you know, they all play for Klopp. Klopp's a fantastic manager. And the way he just gets the best out of Salah, Mane, Horta, Firmino just really helps. And when you got Henderson in the midfield, who is so underrated by a lot of people, you know, he just controls the midfield. And, you know, when you got Van Dijk in defence, we haven't even seen Kanate play, really. He's going to be really, really good in the future. So, yeah, Klopp, unlike Solskjaer, takes his time with signings, lets them bed in. And, it's going to be an exciting future for Liverpool, especially in a couple of big games that are coming up this week.
Yeah, Nathan, you wanted to add... Sorry, Josh. Nathan, you wanted to add something?
To be honest, it's bright future ahead for Liverpool, as you've already alluded to. And the thing is with me, there's not too much that you can really strengthen. It's just the way of pushing it through. And then, obviously, when the certain players get older, like Salah, he's getting on a bit now. Mane will be getting on a bit soon as well. But it's a solid squad, and Jurgen Klopp has got to make the most of it while he has it. And especially considering you already know he's stepping down in 2024, I believe that's right.
Yeah, 2024. Yeah,
it's probably about the right time that maybe tries to push for another Premier League. And boy, if they started the season with vengeance to get the payback on Man City after the injury problems of last year.
I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. I did not expect this season to be as good as I thought it would be. You know, we've managed to get like 4 points off of obviously Chelsea and Burnley at home. Obviously, those were the games that really disappointed me. Anyway, actually, just saying on that, Josh, do you know that Chelsea-Liverpool is now a New Year's Day game?
It was a bit of a weird one, but you know, my birthday's on the 3rd of January, so the perfect result there would be to beat Liverpool at Stamford Bridge. That would be absolutely perfect. So Doug, if you just follow over for us, that'd be greatly appreciated.
You're gonna finish 1-1. You're gonna finish 1-1 again, and Rhys James is gonna get sent off.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that, Reece. We will go to Brentford Chelsea because I'm scratching my head how the dickens did Brentford not even get anything out of this game. They absolutely battered Chelsea for like the last 15-20 minutes. I have to say, when you go to Brentford, you're going to just get a battle. I mean, Josh, you wouldn't have expected a very easy game against Brentford. How impressive have you been with this Brentford side?
Yeah, Brentford were very good, and honestly, we were probably the luckiest team that we were probably will see all season. You know, Brentford hit the bar twice, and to say Mandy was actually incredible. Some of the saves he was pulling off was really good, but you know, when you look at the backfield that Chelsea are playing, Christensen was back from international break. Chalobah, he's still relatively, and then Malanga Sarr making his Premier League debut away against a very good Brentford team. The fact Chelsea came out with a clean sheet is just a miracle within itself. I know a lot of people were complaining. At least the Chelsea were complaining Chelsea were boring, they were defensive, but you know, it wasn't the fact Chelsea were sitting back; it was Brentford pushing Chelsea back. I think Brentford did a very good job of pushing Chelsea back, making it very difficult, over-attacking the spaces. And Brentford, I do agree with the Brentford manager. You know, they should have won that game. They should have won that game by a mile. But if you watch Josh's real opinion on Brentford, watch our prediction stream. We did this on the channel. Well, to be fair, I did have. Am
I wrong?
No, you're right. I said I was good. Hi, Josh. Hi.
Can I be honest, Bluebird legend? Get rid. He is on a gold. I predicted this. He would go on goal streak. And then he'd have a couple of games where he couldn't hit a barn door in a brothel. So, unfortunately, I think you just get rid.
Put it this way: Lukaku is to Chelsea what Andy Carroll is to football. I'll leave it at that.
I think it's 6 games in a row, isn't it? I think it's 6 games without scoring for Lukaku. I think
he's only scored 6 goals for Chelsea.
Lukaku isn't being used right. I won't go ahead. I'm going to go into a full breakdown of it, but he's not being used correctly. Tuchel needs to Tuchel needs to find a better way to use Lukaku. He's not being used right, but I would personally get rid of him. It will start firing, but he is on a bit of a drought at the moment. But
This is what you do to get the best out of them.
That's a very good point from Hella. Brentford are a joy to watch, to be honest. They don't care who they're playing against. Fearless. I mean, Rhys Bish.
Exactly how I describe them.
Rhys Bish. I mean, you were obviously at Wembley to obviously watch Brentford beat Swansea. Sorry, I had to remind you. But were you impressed with Brentford that day? And did you actually think that they could actually survive in this league?
Oh yeah, they're absolutely bad at Wembley. Way deserved winners in the end. But to be fair, I think I predicted them to stay up this season. Teams like Brentford, Sheffield United, we've seen 2 seasons ago, when it's their first Premier League season in a while, they're such a joy to watch because they fearless. They go out there, they're just happy to be in the Premier League, and then you see teams like Norwich and Watford be in the Premier League. They just want to survive. Brentford, they don't really care if they survive or not because they just want to enjoy their experience. And, we've seen so far this season, they're attacking games. If first Arsenal, first game of the season, obviously, Arsenal not great, but it's still a big team. Chelsea, they played really well against, and we've seen them go away to Aston Villa, get a good point there. Wolves away 1. So, yeah, Frank really, really attacking. Brentford, I think they will probably get found out eventually in the later months, but right now, even though I don't really like Brentford, they're doing a really, really good job. And, Thomas Frank's utilising his squad really, really well. And, that new ground for Brentford looks like a really, really tricky place to go to as an away team.
Yeah, it's absolutely cracking. I mean, George, have you been impressed with Brentford this season?
100%, yeah. I mean, obviously, the only another match was obviously the Liverpool one, which you'll be aware of, obviously with the 3.
Oh yeah,
was just
they should have won that game.
Yeah,
I still say to this day they should have won that game. They probably should have won 4-3.
It's been incredibly impressive with Brentford. I think obviously watching so many of their games, not being aware of them really, but like I said, from the obviously not watching the Championship religiously, but when they've come into the Premier League. Obviously, as mentioned, they're a real breath of fresh air and completely the opposite of Norwich and Watford, who have been, woeful to say the least, both of those teams. And they've really, shown some attacking verve, inspirational displays. And yeah, it's really amazing watching them, combat all the Premier League teams and show absolutely no fear. So yeah, full credit to Frank, and obviously full credit to Brentford, and long may it continue, because they're a very worthwhile addition to the Premier League, but not so much Watford and Norwich, who can get relegated in May.
Do I have to remind you, Josh, you had Brentford bottom?
Every week, Josh, every week.
Guys, thank you for watching the podcast. See you later. Goodbye.
And guys, if you want to see that prediction again, just go back to our earlier prediction streams live on the Dugout Football channel. It is available as an earlier stream, and he was very adamant that Brentford were going to get relegated. We all know the truth. Josh doesn't, hence why he's a Chelsea supporter.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, we'll move on to the other games, because congratulations to Burnley. They didn't lose 5-0 against Manchester City. It was a 2-0 win.
I'm not going to congratulate. No, we're moving on from Burnley. Not their disgrace.
I will ask this question.
They get relegated.
Exactly.
Are Burnley likely to get relegated this season? Could this be the season that they could go down?
Not for me.
My boys already said that. My boy already knows. Nathan knows.
Free worse team than them, though. They'll finish maybe second. Maybe finish just outside the relegation zone. But Sean Dice always gets a wee run going. There's 3 worse teams than them.
Well, like 17th again, maybe.
16th, 17th from there.
Yeah, and
we can rule the teams out that's not worse than them, right? These are the teams that are not worse than Burnley: Southampton, Crystal Palace, Brentford, Newcastle. Who's the other one? Brighton.
Newcastle could get relegated if they keep Steve Bruce. That's just a pure.
Newcastle. He's already lost his 1,000. He already lost his 1,000th game as a manager. And sad for the fan who was carried out to the hospital yesterday. That's not a great thing. But even so, the sense of it is he lost his 1,000th game as a manager. He's done exactly what Arsene Wenger did. He's going. He's lost. He lost his 1,000th game. Bruce lost his 1,000th game.
Bruce
will get sacked within 3 weeks. Bruce will get sacked within 3 weeks.
I think
next
he's
manager
probably
gone.
gone.
With that new ownership as well, they're going to probably invest quite heavily in January. I know they've said they won't do, but that's another fillip for Newcastle. Is if they're in trouble, they know they've got this ownership that's going to bail
Just
them
remember
out.
what comes up in another month, boys. Just remember what's up in another month. Another international break.
If they do get a new manager or in the next week, guess who their first home game is going to be?
You.
So keep Steve Bruce for 2 weeks. Keep Steve Bruce for 2 weeks, lads.
Who would you all, like, if you were in charge of Newcastle, obviously being realistic, who would you appoint to replace Steve Bruce? Because surely
Ralph Hasenhuttl or Graham Potter. I think
Yeah,
right now
I'd go
you've got to
Potter.
bring someone. You have to. I think to start this project off, you do not go for someone with the big name status because that's going to make it worse. You need to
That's
go
why
with
I'm
somebody
surprised
who's
Frank
familiar
Lampard
with the
was
league. You have to go with someone who's familiar with the league, plays good football, knows how to build a network of players as well that can get them across certain leagues because you're going to have to build smartly. They will spend money, but you don't want to go and flush money to ruin the project. They're going to do a Man City. They're going to build it slow, and then you'll see the spending come in. So I think Hasenhuttl or Graham Potter is the best way to start.
I'm going to
throw Conte.
I'm going to throw a cat among the pigeons. I think Steven Gerrard would be a good shout for Newcastle.
Would be, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Would be, it won't happen.
I think
He could
Brendan
do what
Rodgers won't
did,
go.
though.
Brendan Rodgers will not
I
go.
don't see it happening. He wants to. I think he will want to retain. He will want to retain the league. And the one thing he's not done yet is win a domestic cup trophy. He's not won a Scottish Cup. He's not won a League Cup.
Yeah,
He will want to win one of those before he leaves.
I did see they might give Graham Jones the job until the summer, but it's too risky when they're in a relegation.
that's very risky.
It's very risky. Easy assistant
manager.
Easy assistant.
He did.
Easy assistant. He's the assistant manager in Newcastle. He's now in the England coaching staff. He is really, really highly rated, but it's too risky. Especially
I think to be fair, BBL says Brendan Rodgers. I don't know if Rodgers is going to leave Newcastle.
Not mid-season.
I saw Roberto Martinez would be mentioned, but his teams can't defend.
I got to ask one question, right?
He'll go to Barcelona.
This is a serious question. This is not taking the piss, right? Pochettino to Newcastle.
No,
his contract is only up until 2022.
I can't see it.
I can't see
that does make a lot of sense. Think about it.
I can't see him staying at PSG. I can't see him giving a new contract.
Do you think though at Newcastle that makes a lot of sense though?
It may make sense.
It does make sense, but the problem is, I think I don't see Pochettino being at PSG beyond 2022. Let me just say that, but I don't think Pochettino would come in straight away. Do you think if he was told right, and obviously he has got the Champions League, they're going to get through the group stage. But you honestly think if Newcastle at least do come to him at the international break that's about to come and say, we have got an exciting project, we actually want you to lead it. Surely that would be tempting enough. Surely that would be like. I don't think
so.
Yeah, we'll see.
When Mbappe goes potentially, but when he's got Mbappe, Neymar, Messi, all those players, and then he's got John Joe Shelby, Joe Linton, he's going to step.
Considering what he's done with mediocre players before. Look, he's already managed that Winks before, and he's shite. He's like managing Shelby's just the ball. Shelby's just the bald, bigger version of Winks. So he's already got experience. And exactly.
Paulo Fonseca apparently is the bookie's favourite according to BBL.
Ooh.
Just random.
That's risky.
I think Frank Lampard's up there, but Newcastle need to stay away from Lampard because look what he did at Chelsea with all that money.
Doug, I just thought the perfect
and Derby as well, with just completely bottling it at the end. Got
James
so early as well.
James saying Newcastle definitely need to avoid Roberto Martinez. From experience and having him as a manager, it's not worth it. His teams cannot defend at all. No, I do not understand why he has been mentioned for a managerial job again. To be honest
I've literally just thought of two names. Actually, one of them, Doug, you're probably going to go yes to because, like you watch the Bundesliga. The other one's Pellegrini. Dominic Tedesco.
Yes.
That makes a whole lot of sense to Newcastle.
I agree with that.
Which is what they want, attacking football. He's got experience of developing clubs as well. Like even though Schalke went to shit, he developed them really well, and he also went to Russia with Spartak. I think that's a very good option to look at, Domenico Tedesco. But I think you have to go for in the league first. Hasenhuttl, Potter. I don't think they're going to get Rodgers, but any of those two to even at least start the project works. Poch could come in, but I don't know if it's going to happen. But I just think I look at what he done at Southampton. That would be a look at for them.
For building the side, I've got to go for Eddie Howe. Considering what he did from League 2 all the way up to division, stabilised Bournemouth, got on the mid-table side. Yes, he did burn way too much money in the end, made some absolutely stupid signings, but he's a solid manager. He plays good football. He knows how to develop something from the ground up. If you give him time, he will be a superb manager for them. For me,
would you do the irony? Would you do the ironic choice? Would you buy out Rafa Benitez's contract and give him the big budget he actually never got?
Rafa says that Rafa wouldn't do that. He doesn't break contracts. He wouldn't do that.
He doesn't.
And Lyceum Farr is another one. Decent shirt.
Yeah, I saw that.
We're not even going to discuss that fraud.
Hats off to Sergio Reguilon and Eric Dyer for their part in the fan obviously getting the doctor over and shout out to obviously I think there was a women doctor and there was somebody on BBC Breakfast name goes for me, Dr. Pritchard I think his name is. Obviously, they've saved a man's life. The guy's in hospital. He's now stable. So obviously, big, well done to everyone involved to keep that man alive. Yeah, but you have to say it was a fantastic atmosphere yesterday for Newcastle. So very, very quickly, we'll move into the other games. Aston Villa 2, Wolves 3. I never saw this coming in a million of Sunday. I think that's probably Aston Villa's worst 10 minutes of Premier League football. Norwich 0, Brighton 0. Next.
About that game, did you see that miss from the Norwich player who had an open goal and just passed it? No power. Have you seen that?
Sargent, yeah.
Oh, he's shit. Sorry, he's rubbish.
Connor, if you're watching this, by the way, I warned you, Americans in the Premier League don't work. I warned you. I told you Sargent is shit. I'm going to say it one more time in English. Josh Sargent is shit.
Yeah, I saw that, and it's like, oh,
take care.
Couldn't believe it.
Cheers, Chris. Thank you. Southampton 1, Leeds 0. Southampton finally get off the mark, and it's a player of Broja who scored the
brilliant
goal.
Player.
What a quality player.
Chelsea Academy player at the moment. Brilliant player. Love the kid.
Another one on loan. How long will he stay on loan though? That's what
he was impressive in that watch along where I mugged off Mendy.
Yeah, and Leeds United's second season syndrome is really affecting them. I mean, Nathan, obviously, I know.
I would like to change my prediction from the beginning of the season when I said top 7 team they're getting fucking relegated.
I think it's a rare possibility
they are so bad, and CBL
so open as well.
CBL, he should ask about the Newcastle job. He should just go now. Like Bielsa should go because he's such a good manager, and this team has let him down. I guess it's plans when you buy Dan James.
I did say to you all that I think Bielsa might walk if this does not go well for him. I think he'll walk. Yeah. He's done it before. I think he did it at Atletico Bilbao. He did it at Atletico Bilbao, and I think he did it at Lazio. If memory serves me correctly.
Lazio walked out. Marseille walked out.
Yeah.
Marseille walked out after 2 weeks. He walked out of Marseille after 2 weeks.
Yeah, so he definitely has previous. Everton 0, West Ham 1. I know James is in the comments. I didn't see this game, but from what I've been told, I thought West Ham, it's a very good win, first of all. West Ham proven to everybody that they're no one-trick pony, as you can say. I was at the game on Sunday. West Ham were by far the better team. I've been trying to sort out a taxi for the Wobie back to Arsenal. It was absolutely shocking. Speaking of Arsenal, actually, their game against Crystal Palace is about to
Palace to win.
Off.
Hopefully Palace win that. I actually had West Ham to win 3-2. I still had a West Ham win. I thought it'd be an exciting game, but I didn't see the game. It was just a prediction based on both sides. Recent run of form. I just think West Ham are slightly better, but I might see the highlights, and I do agree with Jamie Redknapp's analysis at the end. He just quickly summed up why, quickly in a nutshell, his exact words were Everton are a good side, but on the day West Ham, they are just better side to play against right now. Like Moyes is turning this team around really well. This team right now for West Ham is exactly what David
Really?
Moyes got Everton. Yeah.
What I thought was funny about this game was the official Premier League site
That's
credited Bowen with the assist for that goal. Cresswell topped. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, they did. I don't know why, they're absolutely mental. But this West Ham team now is what I think of.
I've
David
been
Moyes'
impressed
team.
with West Ham. I think they've been very, very good this season.
I think they get so
maybe
much
bar
unfair
a couple of
criticism.
games where was it Brentford? I mean, they absolutely bad Brentford. And, Brentford managed to get a 2-1 win. Crystal Palace, I think they let slip a 2-goal lead in that one as well.
I need to ask the question, boys. When does the tagline defensive manager finally stop with David Moyes? Because it's clear and evident he's not a defensive manager.
No, I absolutely agree.
When does this tagline officially end with him? Because I think it's massive disrespect to the man. Because he has a good defensive shape and organisation. But if you look at his teams, he ain't a defensive manager. He's a very clever manager for balancing his teams out. They're quite offensive to watch. Obviously not the word offensive, but they're offensive by attacking.
That's Man United.
Exactly. I think it's a shame though that he is being labelled a defensive manager when there is no way that he is.
Yeah. Okay, well, we will move on to the biggest game in South Wales, and I know that Mr. Rhys Bish is looking forward. Nathan has just sank his head into shame. Rhys Bish, I mean, before that game, I obviously spoke to you on, I think it was Instagram Live, and I asked you what your prediction was. I think you said, was it 2-0? Did you go 2-0? Did you expect it to be as comfortable an afternoon as it was?
I expected us to win, but I didn't expect us to just batter them, really. Of course, two very contrasting styles of play. We've got Russell Mann, youngest manager in the league. Obviously, I think he had the second highest average possession last season with MK Dons. The team above him was Barcelona. And on the other hand, you've got one of the oldest managers, Mick McCarthy, who's very defensively stubborn.
And disliked as well.
As Nathan would agree.
And an asteroid needs to be called.
I agree.
Oh, that's a bit.
Yeah, I've been saying the same thing for these dinosaurs for months. We need to bring in the asteroids.
Yeah, but we just totally outplayed them. And what I found the funny thing is Mick McCarthy stayed on the touchline after the game, shook hands with every single Cardiff player, and then just walked straight down the tunnel. No acknowledgement for the Cardiff fans, and then they were booing him. It was superb scenes. But
I think it's been happening for the last few games. He's an absolute disgrace, honestly.
From obviously joy to despair, Nathan. I mean, you were at the game. Obviously, kudos to you for obviously going. I've never heard you sing McCarthy. You're getting sacked in the morning. I thought that was actually quite interesting. Actually, was it that bad a performance that got you singing? You're getting sacked in the morning.
It was an absolutely shocking performance. I mean, I was in the tiny concourse at Liberty Stadium. I mean, maybe expand it out a little bit and get some more food outlets in there. But apart from that, food's good. From what I smelt and heard about it, got to stay positive. But either way, when I first saw it on my phone, and if any of you have seen my video, I was absolutely disgusted with the team lineup. You do not play 5 centre-backs in a derby.
Where on earth did you get that idea?
I know.
Where on earth did you get that idea of playing 5 centre-backs? Like, I've never seen somebody play 5 centre-backs.
I agree with Reece. It's just complete lunacy. I mean, we have some great young players, Perry NG, Joel Bacon just rotting on the bench, yet you're playing Mark McGuinness and Kieran Brown.
Yeah.
How are you expect to win?
The funny thing about it is...
Sorry, Josh. Go on.
The really funny thing is that, at home to West Brom, he tried 5 centre-backs and absolutely trashed. So he actually somehow thinks, I'm going to go to a derby against Swansea City and try to stack with the same system. It just beggars beyond belief what he's actually thinking in his head. Like, I'm going to say it now, Nathan. I was right all along about that absolute dinosaur of a manager. He's awful. He got sacked in Azerbaijan. How do you get sacked in Azerbaijan? Like, how is that possible? Like, I don't understand.
Honestly, crazy. Like, Kieran Brown is a left wing back, right? I'm going to say it now. He played left wing back for Livingston. He was very, very good there. He was very good at centre back. Stop playing him at left back. He's a left wing back. Oh,
One thing I will say,
Mick McCarthy is to football what Diana Ross is to music. Not talented.
One thing I will say, which will really impress George and Reece, is Ethan Laird, a right back we've got on loan from Man United from MK Dons last season. Absolutely ripped Cardiff City to shreds. He should have had a penalty in the 3rd minute after he absolutely skinned. Nathan, you could shake your head, but he got nothing of the ball. But then that 3rd goal, I'm not sure if you've seen the highlights, but the 3rd goal, sprint, keep that ball in, have the position to pass it. He's just phenomenal. And I'll tell you what, Wan-Bissaka's got some serious competition if Ethan Laird returns to United next season, because he is
just look at the live chat.
Fantastic.
That's how I sum up Ethan Laird, mate.
He's phenomenal.
Obviously, Cardiff are in a big rot. That's now 6 defeats
7
in a row. 7 defeats in a row.
7 if you include Brighton as well. And looking at what's coming up, we have not really any winnable fixtures coming up. Fulham, Middlesbrough, Stoke, some absolutely dire ones. And the biggest insult, I thought, and this was from our absolutely idiotic owners as well, who were once again in the spotlight. And honestly, they are an utter disgrace from what they have done recently. But why on earth is this idiot still in a job? Disrespecting the fans. He's lost the fan base. Players just aren't playing for him clearly. And even in fact, this may be controversial, but I don't think some of the players are even fit to wear the shirts. But how can you not sack him? That's the thing I just can't get in my head at all.
Nathan, do you want to mention
team play them?
Nathan, do you want to mention about what happened on the bus too, for anyone who isn't aware?
Oh yeah, let's just say after the game, the police went completely to sleep, throwing coins, throwing flares at the bus. Absolute disgrace.
No, I mean,
with in the crowd and everything, absolutely disgraceful. Police, no police on the other side of the barrier, or police on our side. Disgusting.
I mean, before the game, because obviously you had someone come on and someone shouted towards it, a certain in particular about needing a new manager.
Yeah. Don't even get me started. Right, Ken Shu, our chief executive, comes on All Coaches asking if, just basically thanking all the fans for putting up with these hard times, as he described it, and all that. And then someone asks him, when are we going to get a new manager? And then he turns back and says, I wish we had a new manager too. If things, this is the guy, one of the guys who are running the club. How can you not change things like that? You have that idiot Mehmet Dalman who is literally in conversation with Vincent Tan all the time. He knows what is going on. He's in complete denial about everything. They've been in denial about it for years. Just no control of them, not an ounce of football knowledge. It's been happening for the last 10 years. We've seen it for the last 20 years with all of our owners. It is absolutely ridiculous.
The only thing I can think of is why McCarthy hasn't gone yet is he's got a very expensive contract, which means if you sack him, you're going to have to pay him a big thing. But the only thing I can't understand is if the contract is big, why give it to him? Because they knew what they were going to get with McCarthy. They give him as an interim role, didn't they, for 6 months, and he did relatively all right. But the thing is, he's not a long-term option. When you've got young players like Ruben Cole,
he's never been a long-term option.
No, BBL is making me laugh as much as Nathan.
And the thing is, there's a ready-made Cardiff manager out there, Michael Flynn. You know, that's he's money. But the thing is,
I tell you, there's one reason. Sorry, go on, Reece.
No, I was going to say, the thing is, like you were saying with your owners and, boards, they know nothing about football when you give McCarthy a 2-year contract when you know he doesn't develop youth players. You know he's just going to get the experienced players.
Months ago, get Eddie Howe to Cardiff.
Yeah,
it would be a good option, but with the state of the club at the moment...
ago, Cardiff fans, the Cardiff board need to watch us. We can fix your mess so easky.
It's so strange. It's so strange as well because Cardiff and Swansea are quite big clubs. Like in Cardiff, it's all negative, all experience. And then you go down that road, Swansea, youngest manager in the league, possession. I think Nathan was laughing at Swans a couple of weeks ago because we just had possession, we weren't scoring goals. Who's laughing now, Nathan? But we'll ignore that. But I think we just play really good football. Sometimes, it doesn't work, but generally, we are the Brentford of the Championship. And Arsenal have just scored, by the way, for 1-0 Arsenal.
We will not have that comparison.
No,
we will not have that comparison. Brentford are cool, Swansea are...
George, Josh, and Reece, do you want to have any input on this wee debate we're having?
I can still go, honestly, guys.
Aubameyang scored.
Bam
Really
Yang.
Just very quickly, Nathan, where do you
My
think?
ruined.
Obviously, because I don't know Cardiff that well now at these days. Obviously, now they're in the Championship. Where do you think you guys should be in terms of like positioning? If you had a competent manager, where do you think you should be? Because obviously at the moment I've just had a quick check, and you're 20th, aren't you?
Yeah,
in the league.
for
So
me,
where do you think you should be? Just based on the squad you've got.
Based on the squad we've got now, I'd say minimum mid-table. But with the way it's been thinned down and stuff, we as a club we should be top 6 minimum, pushing to stay in the Premier League. But that's not happening, literally because of how poor some of the decision making has been over the last few years as well. Long-term contract was absolutely, looking back at it now, absolutely stupid, giving it to McCarthy. But I'll go back to Reece's point on Michael Flynn. There is one reason that I do not want him as manager, and that is because we need a manager, and like we saw with Neil Warnock, for someone that will go into the board, have a spine, and tell them what they need to do and be boisterous with them and say, look, you need to do this, 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 and this. Otherwise, it's not going to work. And that's what we need with this board, because they're so stubborn and they just won't work it properly. And to be honest, if this is what the future's been like, even with us having some shocking owners before then, I mean, Peter Ridsdale, who almost bankrupted us, and Sam Hamama won't even go there. I honestly think I don't put so much of the blame into Vincent Tan, but it's the people at the top of the club who are running it for him. And I think it's terrible.
Got to sit.
We really do. And
Reece,
to be honest, if he's not passionate enough, sorry to interrupt, Doug, if he's not passionate enough, then I think it's really time for him to sell the club. But I will honestly say, guys, I think Mike Ashley was a better owner than Vincent Tan. And that's saying something.
Look at Reece's face. Rhys Bish, where do you think Swansea are going to finish this season?
I still think we'll finish in and around mid-table. 10 potentially, we're saying there. Just around mid-table. The squad's too good to go down. It's not good enough to challenge for top 6, but I'm okay with that. Arsenal fans, they don't understand the process. It takes time. It's like Newcastle. They're talking about Mbappe, Haaland. You've got to be realistic. It's going to be a while for Newcastle to become, a great side. It's going to take years. It's going to take us a few years to, really get. But the early signs are good. Yes, we are going to lose games we should win. That's the sport of football. And, with Cardiff, there's just no plan, no long-term plan with their manager. With us,
I agree.
There's a plan. And, the youngsters coming in, the loan players coming in, so they can develop for their former clubs. Ethan Laird, for example. Rhian Brewster, we've seen his career's gone downhill since he's left us. But, we've seen him. But, it's looking all right. Even though, we aren't going to finish as high as I'd want. This is positive.
Is this true?
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit political, but what's your stance on some of your fans holding up Union flags and the Ulster flag?
Yeah.
Well,
go on. You can explain.
I was going to say BBL, you can laugh, but there was a 4 Cardiff fans folding a flag saying Union, Rangers or whatever. But every fan base has a few idiots, and for some reason, some Swansea City fans have like his Union Jack flag. But to be fair,
I saw loads yesterday.
They did get taken down because other fans were criticising it and having a go, so they did get taken down. I'm not sure if you've seen that, but
because what happened was I was in the stands about 40 minutes before kickoff. We started giving a load of abuse to it. Yeah, we were chanting at it, and then
I think Swans fans were like, "Oh, we're not having this. This is embarrassing." They just took it down.
Yeah, they took it down. But the one thing because then I did see one in the West stands, or whatever your grandstand's called. A few people holding up Union Jacks, and I thought it's just ridiculous. And there was a Northern Ireland flag in there as well. And to be honest, there's a few fans from both. I won't say we're immune to it as well, but there's a few fans from both fan bases who are trying to turn it into the old firm. I mean, you guys with your sort of anti-Cardiff, anti-Senedd sort of thing, and then us with like pro-Senedd, separating from the UK and all that. And to be honest, I think that we need to keep that as far away as we can from the derby. Yeah. And it's going to plunge it back into the 90s and 80s when, in the end, they had to ban away fans from the fixture.
I'll tell you,
it ruined our derby. It ruined ours.
I know you 5 haven't seen it, but there's this Cardiff City fan who uploaded on YouTube a video. Nathan will know a lot about this. A Cardiff fan uploaded himself spray painted on the Cardiff City Stadium, "Mick out." Spring pitch.
What a bellend.
She's vandalising his own stadium for a manager who's not even going to be there next month. So he's going to get a ban in order, not for the first time in Nathan.
Yeah.
Why would you do that? Like, why would you spray paint Mick out on the Cardiff City Stadium? They're just going to have to clean it off.
No, this is what you do. You don't make anyone else clean it. What you do is you grab him by the back of the neck, you put his head against the wall, and you make him lick it off. And then you rip then you rip his season ticket off in front of him.
That's vile. That is vile.
Well, if you want to tag stadiums because you're an absolute twat, then give them
especially
the
your
right
own
message.
stadium.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
it's just poor. But
Josh, do you have anything to say about this game?
No, not really. I think everyone summed up everything quite well. I think Rhys Bish probably had the best day of his life. I've seen a tweet from him. He's not actually seen Cardiff City score in a derby in this last 3 games going. So I'm sure. Maybe Swansea found the lucky charm to the derby. And I was speaking to Nathan, obviously, leading to the game on Snapchat. For some reason, I was up at 7:00 in the morning. Don't ask why. And I feel bad for Nathan. He generally has one of the worst managers in football at the helm, and if he's in charge come Wednesday night against Fulham, it's going to be another very long night for Cardiff City. So
he's in charge for the next 2 games.
Let's see if Mitrovic does the Ayatollah this time. Only to a Swans gesture.
I know. To be honest, Jesus. I will say one thing now. I am not going to any more away games until Mick McCarthy is out of the club.
I don't blame you.
Wow. Because I think from what we've seen, the amount of disrespect he's shown to the fan base, and also from what the board have been doing, why should we be spending? I mean, just alone, to go to Swansea, it was 50 quid for me, about around that. Why should I have to spend that every single match to watch rubbish like that and then get treated like that? It's an absolute disgrace.
There is one other thing as well, and this is a harsh reality for all football clubs, especially if you've got bad owners. We've got it. It doesn't matter what happens if McCarthy gets the sack. It's who comes in next.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
you could end up going from bad to worse. We already know you're at the worst stage anyway, but you could be going from now it's worse to Derby.
Yeah, this is the thing, right? We are Cardiff City Football Club. Whenever we get rid of something, we get something much, much worse. I mean, just look at the score. Even though Ridsdale almost bankrupted us, but then went to Vincent Tan, who changed the colour and absolutely ruined the club and drove half of the fan base away. And then we had it with managers as well. Harris, Dyer, McCarthy, horrendous.
Genuine question. Who do you think replaces Mick McCarthy?
Neil Harris. No, not Neil Harris, sorry. Michael Flynn. It's written in the stars.
I think it might end up being Michael Flynn, but
is he Cardiff? Is he Cardiff born and bred then? No.
Where's he from? Wrexham.
He was former Newport manager.
I'll have a quick look where he's born now.
Yeah, I just really don't think it's a good idea because he's not. I don't think he's that sort of manager from what I've seen. I'll obviously have to learn more about it, but he's not. For me, he's not sort of that manager who will able to literally have a go at the board and sort them out, and is able to have a spine for them and all that. And we need someone with that sort of thing.
Yeah. Michael Flynn was born in Newport, but what I do kind of feel sorry for Cardiff fans because I know a lot of people, don't care about the Championship, but the last 3 Cardiff managers: Neil Warnock, awful football; Neil Harris, awful football; Mick McCarthy. So I don't know how you've put up the last couple of years watching that die-up, and hopefully it's Tony Pulis next. But
I know. Don't worry, we've had even worse before that.
Gareth Ainsworth,
Paul Trollope,
Russell Slade,
Paul Trollope, Russell Slade, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and then Malky Mackay. Yeah, it was okay football, and then Dave Jones, beautiful football, just bottled it everywhere. Bottled an FA Cup final, and probably bottled one of. Well, we were the biggest favourites for that 2010 playoff final, and we lost to Blackpool.
To be fair, what you could do, if you do get Michael Flynn, there is the fact that he lost 8-0 to Southampton hanging over his head.
Yeah, that's true.
And that was this season's EFL Cup. That was this season's
Yeah.
World Cup by the way, before he got the sack. So that'll
Josh.
also be on his head.
Josh, Gareth Ainsworth for Cardiff. What do you think?
I'm perfectly honest with you and know absolutely nothing about the bloke, so can't answer you.
Oh, right.
Yeah, forward player, sort of a club legend. Good. He's done brilliantly at Wickham. It's just a question of the owners, really, for me.
Would have stayed up
Surname's
last year as well if
Ainsworth.
Derby got a rights point deduction, because they should have had that last season, and if they did,
Yeah.
Wickham would have stayed up with their squad. With
Wickham
Akin
would
Fenn
want.
was still in the bloody squad, like, would have been some achievement.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be very, very interesting for sure. But we'll obviously have to wait and see. Just very, very quickly, let's discuss obviously about the Champions League, because Chelsea have got Malmo, Atletico Madrid have got Liverpool, and Manchester United have got Atalanta, and Man City have got Club Brugge. Imagine if Club Brugge actually beat them. That would be hilarious. Josh, Malmo, let's be honest, I think it's a foregone conclusion, this one, isn't it?
No, I don't want to say yes, and because it's football. If it can happen in football, let's be fair. We've seen FC Sheriff go away to Real Madrid and beat Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. So that's I'm going to keep my opinion as level-headed as I can. But I think Chelsea should have enough strength within the squad. I'm slightly concerned about the amount of chances I'm slightly worried about the lack of chances we're creating at the moment. But Mambo, they're not very good in terms of competing with the big giants. They're probably the best out of the worst in terms of people who always qualify for European competitions. But at the same time, obviously, they did very well last year, knocking Rangers out with 10 men, which I'm sorry, Reece, I just had to remind you of that. But yeah, Stamford Bridge should win this game. But I think it's going to be a bit closer than people think. Probably a 2-0, but Chelsea shouldn't be threatened too much.
His channel's turned into Arsenal fan team. Really?
It has,
Yeah, he's on over 4,000 views now.
Oh
yeah,
my
check
gosh.
the comments as well if you want to see an absolute comedy show, if you're honest.
I will
What have you
definitely.
done?
I will definitely. Malmo should be beating Chelsea. Their squad is stacked. Guys like that one and what's his the other guy. Oh dear. We did kind of just mention about obviously Manchester United, Atalanta. Reece, how are you feeling about that game?
It's a long travel. Apparently, we've got to go to the States because obviously we're playing in a different region now. So we've got a long journey ahead. I'm expecting a tough battle in cold weather. I think it's going to be an interesting game. But in all honesty, I actually think we will draw to Atlanta. I think Atlanta will have. I want us to win, obviously, but I think we will have a tough test against Atlanta. They're a very good side and a very underrated side as well. Gasperini has got them playing good football. He knows the style that he plays really well. He knows the system well. He's had it stapled in since day one. 3-4-1-2. A solid deep line playmaker in the midfield with a player that will do the grunt work. He's got Koopmeiners who will do the playmaking duties, and he's got De Roon who will just get stuck in. They've got a very good core of Dutch players in there, which suits his style really well. He is modelled on total football. He's brought it to the Italian league once again. He's changed it up to his style with the Italian grunt and the defensive duties. Duvan Zapata with Illich has been absolutely fantastic. You get something there out of them. It's going to be a problem. It just depends on what happens. I think we still have the quality to get the job done. The only difference is it's a more superior team from a coaching perspective.
Yeah.
If we do turn up and get the game done, then we should do it. But the problem is it's the coaching side. Atlanta are as good as they are scoring goals. They're equally as good at conceding as well. Like they do concede goals from simple, stupid mistakes. And that's pretty much how it's always been down the line for them. So it comes down to that.
I honestly don't know how I've done, but thank you, and I'll look forward to
the sounds of it.
to your video.
I do worry about United defensively or Atlanta because is Wan-Bissaka still suspended for that game?
No, he's available.
No, he's not.
We won the appeal. It's probably because they watched the Kevin De Bruyne tackle and they realised actually his was worse. But I don't know.
There's no way
we are in trouble. If Maguire starts, then I'll be really annoyed. Put it that way, he shouldn't be starting. Period, because he's not fit.
No, should be buying Lindelof.
Exactly, that's the smarter option. And to be fair, I think Luke Shaw should be dropped. I think Alex Telles personally should start because Luke Shaw has not been in good form since the Euros. He is in such bad form. He needs to be reminded. Yes, he is a good player, and I absolutely love watching Luke Shaw play. But he needs to be reminded, if you're not in form, if you're not actually doing the job you're paid to do, then there's other players in those positions that can come in and do it. And frankly, he should be reminded for it. So, yeah.
Wow.
Okay,
wow.
Doug's thinking, maybe I should stick to Championship predictions, not the Premier League.
This was the weekend, Doug. This was the weekend you needed to play the lottery. If your luck was in, you're going to need to play the lottery as well.
I do think United have got a good chance of beating Atlanta, though, purely from the fact
19 points.
Well,
I've
got
the quality we have, the quality we've got in that team. We should still realistically beat Atalanta, but Gasperini has his team coached really well. That it is going to be.
Shout out to Worldwide Red Show.
Sean.
I think
Sean
you are new
States.
around here.
Yeah, I'm familiar with him. Sean, he lives in the States. He's a United fan.
Oh, it's Sean, right? Okay. Hello to Sean.
He's a good guy.
Obviously, if you are new around here, then please hit that subscribe button. It'd be absolutely appreciated.
And I know I'm talking about because I watch Serie A on a regular basis, so I know of it. So it comes down to it. They are in a. You should already know the answer to that question. It's going to be a hard game. They are a very well coached side. They're an attacking side, but just like teams in our league that are similar, the likes of Leeds, they are leaky for goals. If you actually get at them, if we get at them in the right way, we could have this game wrapped up in the first 30 minutes, first 30, 40 minutes. It depends on the chances we get. But if Atlanta break us down, if Atlanta get control of the ball in situations that they're strongest at, which is direct forward through the middle, Atlanta could have this game done as well. Like, I think this game will finish 2-2, to be honest, which is bad for United.
George, I'm going to actually ask you this question. What do you think the starting 11's going to be? Good luck.
So I think it will be the same back five that we had again. It's interesting, actually. No, maybe not. The only reason I'd say that is because Ollie did, but this is never an indication. You'd think with some logic, with some logic behind it. You'd think because he did mention the fact in his post-match interview that potentially picking Maguire was the incorrect decision, you'd think they would play Eric Bailly. Obviously realising that that Harry Maguire was unfit, but you can never trust what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says because if I made a list of absolutely everything Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said, you'd see these glaring inconsistencies where he says something one week and then exactly the opposite the next week, and the actions never quite mimic what he said. So there's absolutely no way to know for certain. I think potentially we'll sort of see the McTominay-Fred axis as well. It's going to be fascinating, really. He may sort of look to rotate. We may also see Cavani back in because I know Cavani and Fred. He particularly mentioned that both of those players were big misses for us. I definitely agree with Cavani, but as you all know, not so much.
Fred in midweek though for Brazil actually showed why he actually plays. The problem is he's being coached by somebody who doesn't know how to use him, whereas Tite actually knows how to use Fred properly because the assist for Neymar in midweek sums up exactly what Fred can do if he actually is coached properly. He isn't getting it.
There was a couple of things as well in there that Reece mentioned. I just wanted to reflect on as well. So obviously talking about the Dutch core, and they've got a lot of good players. I was thinking if only we had a Dutch player that could show some total football and hold on to it. But unfortunately, we've got Donny van de Beek who can't get a game for love nor money, no matter how
surely he's got to start this game. Surely
there's a comment going around apparently that. I don't watch the United stand right, but Romano was on there. Apparently there's some sort of comment that came out and it was tweeted by United District that the words that Ole is trying to win without Van de Beek or something. Like, he's actually said this comment. Like Fabrizio Romano has actually said this. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is actually trying to win the game without Van de Beek. I'm sorry, but Van de Beek, he hasn't particularly convinced for Man United, and he has to try and at least showcase what he's got because he's a good player. But if he doesn't play, he's never going to be able to be showcased for it. And I genuinely feel to a degree sorry for him. But I think if that comment is legit, then that is disgusting. Because you can't go around saying, I'm trying to win without a player. That's like Klopp saying, I'm trying to win without Salah. Klopp would be sacked for that sort of comment.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree Van der Beek is definitely gone in January. Everyone loan or perm. I think we can all agree.
100%. 100%.
I don't think so.
Really?
And the reason I don't think so is because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is extremely, as we know, cautious and pragmatic. And the reason why he didn't let him go initially was because he thought, oh, I might have an injury crisis, or I might have to use him at some point. So I think he'll, just for that 1% chance potentially that there could be an injury crisis and he'll have to use him, I still think he'll be here. And the other thing, obviously, you mentioned was Shaw's lack of form as well. Yeah. I think this all started looking back when released on Twitter. I don't know if you guys remember. This was obviously a few months ago, pre-season, when all the Manchester United lads went out for their pre-season meal, and Luke Shaw had a burger and chips, but he had burger and chips, but with a side order also of chips. So he had effectively had double chips. So I think he's basically
done there what people have been accusing him for. The overweight.
Viennetta, Paul. Viennetta.
Very nice. He is basically giving ammunition to the people that actually don't like him. He's actually giving them ammunition by ordering all this food. Like, they've lambasted him as overweight, big, fat. It's horrible to call someone fat, but what he's actually done is actually fueled the fire. He's actually fueled it by doing this.
I think, he's been taking Sammy and Nasri's tips. Has anyone seen what the...
Oh my gosh, yeah.
What the fuck? What happened to Sammy or Nasri? Like, is that Homer Simpson playing with good looks?
To be fair to Samir Nasri, he is retired as well. But yeah, he did not. Yeah, he is.
I mean, remember what Frank Lampard looked like as well during his when he was managing Chelsea. Quite big there, wasn't he?
Just finally, my score prediction will be a 2-1 win to Atalanta. I would think what's good about this though is that it's kind of done tongue in cheek as well, because I predicted we'd lose against Villarreal and we won that match. So by predicting that we'd lose this match as well, I'm hoping that my luck in that regard will continue and we'll win. So
I want us to win, but we need fresh ideas above board. We need fresh ideas, like, because he's out. As much as I like the guy, and George, even you've said yourself you like him, but as a manager, he's way out of his depth. I don't think anyone here could say as a human being, he is not a dislikable guy, but as a manager, he is way out of it. He needs to hand the reins on.
Nathan, is this the best time for Liverpool to go to Atletico Madrid?
With their recent form, and especially that win against Watford, I'd probably say it is, even though it's never a good time to go to the Metropolitano.
Honestly, I hate playing Atletico. Well. I absolutely hate playing Atletico. So, if I was Liverpool right now, I would say a 1-1 draw, because I think that would suit both sides anyway. And looking at unfortunately for obviously Reece being obviously a Milan fan.
Oh, we're going to beat Porto.
I think you will. I think you might get something out of Porto. I don't know. I don't know if you will. I think Frank Kessie's a bit of a loss in midfield.
That's a big one. Yeah, the sending off was unfortunate.
But I think to get a draw on Atletico, it's all about, if you draw your away games, you win your home games. I think that's definite. And I just think the game against Atletico, I think, will be much different to those games a couple of seasons back. So
I just seen something that might put a smile on your face. I had a look, so I wanted to see Atletico Madrid run a form, right? As you know, Savic is suspended, right? He's out by suspension. But apparently Jose Jimenez is injured. Apparently he picked up an injury in international duty. So it looks like for centre-back for Atletico Madrid, it's going to be Mario Hermoso and Felipe.
Are they fast or no?
Hermoso's quite pacey, but
good defenders, but Hermoso is quite suspect at the back for awareness. His positioning is quite bad. Felipe is a decent defender. He's experienced. But what you want is Savic and Jimenez, which obviously both of them are ruled out by the looks of it. Jimenez is probably, in my opinion, their best defender, but he says he's picked up an injury on international duty. So it looks like it's going to be his third and fourth choice centre backs.
The only problem you answer that question?
Yeah, I'll go on to that in a minute now. The only thing for you, Doug, if you get past those two centre backs, you've only got All Black to beat, who always seems to do very well.
Oh,
against
he
Liverpool.
is.
All
He is
Black is
probably the
king.
best keeper in world football. It's pretty quite unanimous to say that. Really,
yeah.
but do you want?
About that BBL, I'm not too sure. Nathan might know a bit more than me, but yeah. I'm not
Yeah, I
too
think I
sure
saw
about that.
something on like Instagram or something that he quit YouTube or something. But yeah, all the best to Jesse, really.
Oh,
No more
that's
to
a
say.
shame.
We all know YouTube. We all know YouTube's hard work.
George,
I still
can
think he's will draw though. I think he's will draw though.
Can Club Bruges beat Manchester City?
No. I think Man City is that's one thing you say about Man City is that you rarely see those shock results with them. I think that's they're one of those teams, unfortunately, they're just super consistent. It seems like also as well that they don't get complacent. I mean, we obviously know from the documentary when they went behind it, Man City, that Pep, and obviously you can also see as well the way that Pep shouts at players even when they're like 5-0 up again at times. You can see that he just doesn't tolerate complacency whatsoever. Incredibly ruthless, and City are advocates and play in that manner. So yeah, I think City will win. So
we also got to remember they've got 0 points because they lost their first game, so that's going to even be more motivation for them to win by a big margin.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a very, very interesting
I think
game.
they'll draw. I think they'll draw.
You think they'll draw?
I did say Sheriff would take points off Real Madrid boldly. I think Club Brugge will take. I think Club Brugge will honestly take points off PSG. Well, not PSG, Man City. I think they'll draw.
Yeah, shout out to Ballum. I don't think he's in the chat. He actually predicted Sheriff to actually beat Real Madrid. I don't know if that was just tongue in cheek or just a complete random guess, but my goodness me, it was something to pay off. So Ballum, if you are watching, very, very well done, my friend. It's at the new studio. This is actually the living room. This is the living room in the new one. There is another room.
I have a question.
I'll
come back to your down, like, what's the Holmes under the hammer moment in a second, because I think it's brilliant. This is what I'm going to ask, right? Because obviously his record right now with Ajax in Europe at the minute is absolutely fantastic. When do you think Ten Hag is finally going to get outgunned by a team? And I mean like a properly coached team, because he seems to have an answer for everybody. When he loses a game, it's like the odd little thing, but he doesn't actually get, if you actually look at the games he loses, he doesn't really get out tacticked or out coached. It's simply the team they're up against, they just get the right opportunity. Who do you think could potentially be the first manager or team that properly outguns Erik Ten Hag?
I would probably say at this point, probably Nagelsmann at Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because obviously with Bayern Munich, as we know, they've got such quality that it's not so much, not only obviously the tactics, but it's more the fact that obviously the quality of the players is just so.
Well, it was 5-0 at half time. 5-0 at half time against Bayer Leverkusen. That was incredible.
He was that cocky at half time. He took off Goretzka for Sabitzer when he didn't have to. He literally went, Goretzka, you've done your job, you're coming off. Yeah, I absolutely love Nagelsmann as a manager. Why the fuck did Man United not get him, honestly?
Yeah, absolutely. Just to say, Paul, this is the living room, so this is only temporarily. The other room in there has literally got loads of things. So that is to be the studio / sort of second bedroom almost. So, but yeah, absolutely loving the new place. So, obviously, thank you very much to everyone with the very, very kind words. And as you can see from the pictures I took on Twitter today, we've got some very amazing views as well. But obviously, we're not here to talk about.
Brilliant.
I think you're close to where. I think you're close to the building where. Well, I used to work there. Now I'm now in a different building, but I used to work right beside, like the big office buildings is right beside the swimming pools and all that, like the indoor swimming pools. So I used to work at that and by the Olympic bit. That's where I used to work before we moved office.
Very, very impressive. Very impressive. One last question I'm going to ask you all. Can Sheriff Tiraspol, who have got 6 points from their first opening 2 games, go to Inter Milan and win? Nathan, what do you think?
Long shot, but it could go either. There's a chance, but I'm going to stay on the safe side. No, I think Inter will just have a bit too much. Can't see winning at the San Siro.
They definitely could. Anything in football's possible. We've seen that young boys beat Man United. A red card for Wan-Bissaka changed the game. So, if Inter go down to 10 men, it could be a change. But I'm going to probably stay on the safe side, probably a 2-0 Inter. But football is a weird game, and it definitely would not surprise me at all if they go there and get a point or something.
George?
Sheriff are winning.
And Reece?
They're on a roll. They're on a roll, and they're going to they're going for a 100% record in this group. So yeah, they're winning.
Reece, what do you think?
I'm looking at recent form between both teams, and I would not be surprised if Sheriff win this game. Honestly, I would not be surprised. I think Sheriff could win. I think Sheriff can win this game. And not just that as well. Like fun for me is Inter Milan got beat 3-1 by Lazio on Saturday as well. So
wow, interesting.
Yeah, they got absolutely humbled. But to be fair, you could be Hellas Verona, try to beat AC Milan, and get beat 3-2.
Yeah,
guys, I'm going to go draw. I'm going to go draw between both sides. I think it'll finish 2-2.
If someone could remind me, I seen something on the weekend about in Italy. I don't know what game it was. Someone just jumped on a player's back. I don't know what game it was.
Oh yeah,
Was it that?
That was that very game.
What was that player thinking?
I got fucking out of control, man. I don't know what they were playing at.
Oh Jesus! But Sarri beating Sarri beating Inter. So that's quite interesting. Hello to Klopp Talk.
Allegri beat Jose.
Yeah, hello to Klopp Talk TV as well. James Dunlop says they could do, but Inter will be too much for them. Well, we will see. We will see. On that note, we will end, which has been a very, very good podcast, and it's nice to come back. I thought I would just extend it just a little bit tonight, because obviously we've had talked about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, talked about obviously Liverpool, Mo Salah, we've obviously talked about Swansea, Cardiff, and obviously we've talked about the Champions League. So big thank you to the panel. Big thank you to Josh for coming on. Didn't think he was going to come on, but it's always a great pleasure to see him as well. Nathan, thank you very much as well. What have you got coming up on your channel?
Yeah, thanks for having me on as always, Doug. Coming up on my channel, more misery probably. Watching Cardiff play. If you want to see another rant on Wednesday, when I'm doing that live stream against Fulham, I'm just glad I'm not going to that at a shambles anyway. But yeah, says it all here, guys. But if you want to check that out, link in the description below. And yeah, McCarthy, he's got to go at some point, and hopefully there'll be a change of the board as well.
Well, I think 3 words come to mind. Four words come to mind. It can only get better, can't it? Or it can only get worse. Rhys
Bish, get worse for Cardiff, yeah, that's about right.
Rhys Bish, thank you very much for coming on. What have you got coming up in your channel?
So just match previews, of course, is a game midweek against West Brom. I know everyone's been watching the Champions League, but you still got to attend your home games and stuff like that. I think it's 1-1 between Palace, is it? I don't know.
No, that's my prediction for you guys
right.
on Wednesday.
All right, I thought you were doing that for Palace, Arsenal, but yeah,
no,
previews.
That lot still wins, sadly.
So far this season, we do every single game, which has been a very big challenge, but so far so good. And I've also got the pleasure of going all the way to Barnsley midweek, so that will be fun.
Wow.
Next month. But yeah, previews, vlogs, and away days return Saturday. So yeah, buzzing really, and a lot more positive on this side of Wales than Nathan's side of Wales.
George, thank you very much for coming back on. Hopefully there's no more Ollie rants from you.
Yeah, thank you very much Doug for having me as always, and thank you very much to all the chat as well. It's been a very enjoyable podcast. Yeah, sadly I think there's going to be plenty more. There's going to be plenty more this season. I'm always going to be like that sort of SpongeBob gif where he's just sitting there with the hot mug, just looking at it in complete and utter despair, unfortunately. But yeah, it's. I think the only question really is when is Ole going to get the sack, rather than if.
I think so. And Reece, thank you very much for coming back on as well. What have you got coming up on your variety of channels?
Jesus Christ, pretty much. I'm on Rich's channel tonight for the game week game week stuff like previews and shit. So I'm on there. We'll get to that in a minute. I'm also weekly armchair tomorrow at 7:00. We've got some new members contributors on our channel, so it's going to be a new show. I'm hosting that. It's going to be I'm hoping chaotic because I love carnage. But other than that, not a lot really. Not a lot. I'm taking not a complete backseat to streaming, but I'm just taking just like I'm doing less streams than normal because I just want to be in
a hiatus. Is a hiatus? Is that the word?
Sort of. It's just I'm just trying to put as much energy as I can into channels where I know I'm going to get a good atmosphere, like with Rich's channel, your channel, and Weekly Armchair, and a few others. I just don't want to get into like
the
so much energy.
negativity.
If I don't have, it's not that I don't mind the negativity. It's just I don't want to be surrounded by people that are just going to make it an atmosphere that I don't want to be surrounded. I want to have a good atmosphere, even if it's a conversation that has to be had. I want it to be at least a good atmosphere. But I was on a podcast yesterday with a guy called Kyle Quinn. He's a Man United fan from Ireland, decent guy. We spoke about that. It was a good laugh. I'll drop it in our group chat. You guys can have a watch and tell me what you think.
Yeah, sure.
End of the day, really, it's just a matter of like watching as much football as I can, watching United, and being in an environment where I'm comfortable. I don't want to be too strenuous because at the minute I've got my back's acting up again. I don't want to be in that sort of shit at the minute. So
yeah, right. We'll address this question. What's this all about?
It's because George looks incredibly sexy now and then. Now he looks like Piers Morgan. So.
Just to let people know, Wednesday evening at 7:00, I am doing a match preview of Manchester United against Liverpool with the lovely Sophie Richards. So obviously tune into that. That should be very, very good. Yes, people will be asking, why is it before the Atalanta game? Unfortunately, I am basically working every single other day, so I cannot get out of it. So that's going to be something as well. So obviously that'll be something to look forward to. Premier League predictions I think will be out Wednesday as well. Bundesliga Thursday, and SPFL as well on Friday, and obviously the Friday LFC Focus podcast as well. So should be very, very interesting.
Have to still be unbeaten.
I know, Reece. I know. I don't know why. But thank you very much for watching, and we will see you all next week. Take care. Bye-bye for now.